Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question. And that is, why does she feel sorry for her narcissistic, covert narcissist abuser? Why does she sort of have a heartbreak? Why does she feel this sadness? And this is a great viewer question because I think this is oftentimes a feeling and a thought form really that gets people stuck. And that is sort of feeling an overabundance of empathy for someone who is an abuser, feeling sorry for them, feeling bad, feeling for their humanness, feeling for their faults, feeling for their shortcomings. And this really then creates a feeling of sadness. Kind of knowing their uncomfortability, their emptiness, or their insecurity can cause you really to feel sorry for someone. And when you're in a sympathy and you're really allowing yourself to be taken over by that, then it can make it very difficult for you to either part ways or create boundaries for yourself around these types of people. It becomes like an emotional anchor. It becomes like a setting up and a solidifying of the trauma bond to these individuals because you're putting them more important and above yourself. You're basically saying their survival is more important than mine. And you're allowing yourself to basically dive in and save the drowning person and really getting into a self-sacrifice where, if you drown but save them, you're saving a life. And so really, when you look at the balance sheet of your emotions, what are you really doing? You're really cutting yourself with the short end, the raw end of the deal. You're discrediting, devaluing yourself by feeling sorry for them. And it becomes very difficult to really get beyond this sort of heartbreak or, feeling of a hurt in the fact that you can't sort of rescue them or save them. That's where people get into a lot of trouble. When you get into a situation where you want to be the rescuer, rescuing, the forlorn kitten, rescuing the puppy, rescuing people from their own demise, from their own emotions, from their own self-sabotage. Oftentimes people with a lot of empathy, they can perceive the errors of others' ways. In other words, but oftentimes they equate it to, if you would only allow me to take care of you, then your life would be okay. So why don't you wake up to the fact that this and this and this and this? So you then begin to get into the rescue persona. I want to save this person. I want to, and I feel, and then you're getting, well, then who will love them in the right way? And then you begin to have a vision of, them not getting their needs met or being isolated. The very thing that you're doing to yourself, you fear for them. So it's like a projection, really, if you will, a codependent, or Dr. Craig Malkin, an echoist projection that you're basically thrusting onto them, and you're then becoming, the evolutionary hallmark for them. You're basically stating that, their evolution, their growth, their happiness is more important than your own. And so this equation gives you, as I say, the short end of the stick. It gives you zero leverage. It gives you zero balancing power. It gives you zero torque. You can't move the engine like a torque. You can't move the engine of yourself without them moving also. This is, in my viewpoint, this is what the trauma bond really is like all about. It's, you're having to move their engine, but you block your own. It becomes, you become codependent. You become enmeshed. You become, enmeshed in the Stockholm syndrome. Their life and their life force, and you supporting them, being a source of supply, becomes your only survival. You get stuck in this survival, which is, codependent, dependent, enmeshed, and boundaryless based on this other person's feelings and their approval and their assessment of you. Like you're waiting for that one moment that all of a sudden they drop everything and go, oh my God, I finally realized what you've been talking about. I am so sorry. You're waiting for these words. You're waiting for the change of this person's heart. You're waiting for them to wake up and smell the roses, smell the perfume mania, whatever it is you're trying to get them to awaken to, but you're keeping your own spirit asleep, stuck, hurt, and feeling sorry for them in the process. So if you sort of do that, you're just truncating or shortening yourself. It's an emotional shortening. You're making yourself small. And yes, relationships are very sad. Life is sad. Your heart goes out to people. This is a fact of life. This is a fact of emotions. This is a fact of humanity. It could be a fact of your very own personal experience. The very fact that you feel a passion or feel sorry for other people. But passion unfulfilled becomes, this pity. It becomes this rescuing, and you're going you're saving the drowning person. And, I'm not sure what they, recommend in CPR or, boating etiquette, but there's a certain point when you should, when you have to take care of yourself. And this can be, a very, very difficult exercise. Would you lose your own sanctity to save 5 others? Would you lose yourself to save 10 others? What is the protocol, in other words? So you have to look at what you're, really, how your hurt keeps you stuck. Your feeling sorry for them will keep you stuck. It'll keep you, they're having the relationships. They're able to be employed. They're able to exploit others. They're able to, live their dreams, live their life. And what about you? Why aren't you given the same opportunity? Why are you not giving yourself the same opportunity and allowing them to be responsible and accountable and big enough for their own decisions? So they're not, this little, and you have to be the big. You don't have to be the role model to them. You might have been the role model to them in the past. You might have been able to make a lot of sense for them, and you're looking to replicate that experience and duplicate that on a bigger scale by not allowing the boundary and the standard creation to take place. You might be resisting this very experience. And, you might then be waiting for them to let you off the hook. But oftentimes, that's not going to happen. So you're waiting and waiting for the abuser. And so it's like you're feeling sorry for the fact that they have to resort to this. You're feeling sorry for the fact that they have to be angry. You're feeling sorry for the fact that they have to feel lonely. You're feeling sorry for the fact that they have to retreat, into their own, tower and feel, that they have to be pathologically self-important. You feel sorry for what you've put them through, which is, what you look at actually what they're putting you through as well. You're not, giving yourself credit. You're seeing things through really sort of a rose-colored glass. When you're feeling sorry for the abuser, you're not seeing things realistically. You need to get more objective. Yes, there is heart-centered. It is, we feel sorry when people try and they don't succeed. We feel sorry if the movie ends sad. We want, the underdog to win. We want it all to work out. We want to see a victory. And oftentimes if you have this for this person, you have to realize that where their victories are and what victories they have to cross for themselves. You can't do certain things for them. They can't do certain things for you. And letting them go and not feeling sorry for them is oftentimes the best thing you can do for them. It is very difficult to stop hurting yourself and start loving yourself. It's a very difficult lesson, a very different energy shift to make, but you can make it. And guilt will hold you back. Sorrow will hold you back. Lack of knowledge, lack of tools will hold you back. But really, if you're waiting for the abuser to set you off the hook or to say, it was my fault and I'm sorry. I do approve of you. I do love you. I just can't do this. You could be waiting a very long time and you might not ever get those words that you're waiting for that give you that relief. So you have to arrive at the feeling of relief for yourself and say, with almost a tough love, that they are making their own choices, they're making their own decisions. For them, to be abusive is their responsibility to correct it, and if it's like feeling sorry for an alcoholic, feeling bad that they have to go drinking, that they have to hide certain things in their life, that they are so miserable that they have to do these things, that they are helpless. It's like trying to rescue these people who actually need to rescue themselves. You can only do so much for these people, to the fact that, to the point where you have to let them go, and you have to live your life on a larger level, and then not replace it with the same type of person who you have to feel sorry for, who doesn't have their act together, who is exploitative of you. This is where you get into really the feeling that then people are oftentimes very shocked when they're excited by their own self-sabotage. They're excited by their own risk-taking. They're excited by their own self-deprecation. They get aroused by injuring themselves, the self-hurt, the self-mutilation, the excessive tattooing, the excessive, piercing. They get, this adrenaline rush, an endorphin rush by injuring themselves. This is unequivocally not a good practice. So you have to look at the payoff and how it keeps you small, it keeps you close to the abuser, and how this is not healthy for you. But oftentimes that doesn't make logical sense. And it doesn't make emotional sense. You have to look at how you're extracting the calculation of your emotions, and how, this is, flawed thinking to feel sorry for them. You can still feel love for them. You can still feel sorrow, at the humanity that you have in your heart. But realize, that you also have to add to that an ingredient or a sensation of courage and respect. So courage to say, and respect to say that they're a big person, they've made these decisions for themselves, and they might have to, fall at their own sword, and that is their choice. And so you have to give them the freedom to make these mistakes and then take the consequences. So you can't try to intervene and be the superhero for these people. If you're making your identity on this, unequivocally, you're making your identity a losing battle, and that is not fun. When you can't support yourself, you're always feeling worried. You're becoming addicted to worry. You're becoming worried to catastrophizing. You're becoming worried, and you cannot enjoy yourself. You cannot be happy. This is not what your master creator has in mind for you. So if you can kind of look up to another source energy and another perspective, perhaps that will help you to see things in sort of a respectful, where you've got really solid respect in here that is based on courage, something very valiant, sort of very, very, very upward, very, I just want to say valiant courage, really taking your courage and your respect and your love to a next level, where it really becomes, a sort of admiration and respect from afar, but then allowing them, knowing that they've done what they've done, and that you can't be injured in the process, that you have to take that next step and to say, I'm stepping out of the way here, and I'm allowing something else to interject, and allowing, sort of life to allow it to take its course there, and not feeling like you have to always throw yourself under the bus in relationships. That's really a habit that you need to look at and consider breaking a bad habit, a bad emotional habit for yourself, and getting unaddicted to that pattern and that process and what it means for you. I hope you take this into serious consideration, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out. Love you. Have a beautiful day.